Now this collection is by 49th and Market, and it's called One Perfect Day. Now the One Perfect Day has some things for wedding, but you know, I've chosen to use only one card for wedding, and all of the others are for different things, okay? Maybe 2 cards for wedding. In fact, here is one that you can see. I've paired it with some asparagus suede, and there is a tag. And then on the inside, we are making a wish. So there are so many things that you can do with this collection in these beautiful, beautiful lasers and rub-ons and papers, all from our friends at 49 and Market. Won't you please come play with us? Well, as I said, we have rub-ons, laser cuts, and papers. Let me just show you the papers to begin with, because that's always the basis. You're going to get 27 sheets, and you're going to get 3 sheets of 9 designs, and let me just show you. So this is an extra one. This is on the back of the package, you know, the front sheet, the title sheet. And then here is one. They are double-sided. And here's another with the lace and the satin. There's the back side. It's got lines on it, in case you can't see that. And let's get in closer, because these are very gentle colors. And so I want to make sure that you can see it. This is a newsprint with the tan. And so the flowers, the bigger on the left, the smaller one on the right. And I say that because the next one has the larger on the right and some lace on the left. And there's more lace on the back. Here we have 2 borders, top and bottom borders. And this is a tone-on-tone, just in case you can't see it. And there is another. And on the back side is solid. And then we have this stripe. And then this is on the back of the package there, just like that. So as I said, you're going to have 27 sheets altogether. That's going to work very nicely. These are 6 by 8, by the way. Now for the laser cuts, I love their laser cuts. You get 4 sheets. They're 6 by 12.5 inches. And you want to kind of be careful when you open it, because some of them may just pop out. But look at those. They are drop dead gorgeous, absolutely wonderful. All floral. I don't think there are any words on these, but we can take care of that, can't we? They are just going to pop out, and there are 97 of them. And then the rub-ons, okay, this has 3 sheets. And of course, I thought it was fun that they added balloons to the flowers, butterflies. This is where you're going to get some words. Of course, we have processes that we can add more words, don't we? Okay, so those are the big pieces. Now we're going to start working on them. So let me start with this card. We'll get in close. Now, I did find as I was using these that I tended to use some products repeatedly. One of those is Velvet Fawn ink pad with a blending brush. Another is the white ribbon set. And another is Sticky Specs. And I find that the Sticky Specs worked really well for attaching all of those delicate laser cuts. And you saw what they look like just a moment ago, but just to refresh your memory. So this is the one that I used on the front. Let me open this up. You can just see how delicate that is. All of those little bits and pieces. Okay, and one of the things that I found with this collection is that because it is so light, sometimes I wanted to make a dark area so that this would really show up, okay? In this case, because this was so long and just elegant, let's use the Slimline cards. That just works for me. Now, you know our Slimline cards come in a package, comes with the envelopes as well as the Slimline cards. So just in one package, so that worked nicely. So I have this sheet, and this is the one that has the lace on the edge, and I cut it to fit in the Slimline card. Now, I have written directions for all of these. They are down below, so you can just refer to those to get your measurements. So there we go. We're just going to have that. This is 8 inches, so it's going to fit nicely on my 8.5 inch long Slimline. So simply glued that down. Then I took my Velvet Fawn and my blending brush, and just started in the middle and just did this, just to as much space as I wanted. Then I would put my laser cut on top and say, oh, okay, I need to go a little bit higher, I need to go a little bit wider, and just kept doing that. So this is a little bit different. So you don't need to put it on a craft mat because you're just putting it onto the sheet itself. Then, in order to use the sticky specs, just in case this is new for you, it comes with 4 sheets in a package. These last forever, absolutely forever. There is a backing sheet. Let me show that to you. And the yellow sheet has got the stickiness on it. So pull this back, lay your piece on it, your die cut image, in this case our laser cut, and just press it down gently. You don't have to slam it down, just gently, and then you can lift it up. Now, excuse me, in this delicate piece, I did make sure that I just kind of gently lifted it. If any of the little twigs broke off, that was fine because it already had adhesive and I could just attach it. And you really can't even tell where that happened. So doesn't that work nicely? Okay, so you can see how that brown, that velvet fawn backing really makes a difference. It lets this stand out. Without that, I'm afraid it would just disappear. Now the joy and the love are from the rub-ons, and those are so easy to apply, absolutely seamless to apply. In fact, let me just walk you through it. Because all you're going to do is, you can see that the rub-ons, here they are, they're they are a film, and they do have a backing sheet. Now, don't make the mistake that I did one time, is that I trimmed it out and I removed the backing sheet. I thought, oh, I'm just going to put this here and see if I like it. Well, it's going to attach, because they're sticky on the back side. So you want to make sure that you know where you're going to put it when you trim this out, or leave the backing on it as you're moving it around and deciding what you want to do. So the love came from Love Always, and you can see it's right there. So you simply cut this out, remove the liner, place the plastic with the image on it, and I recommend using a bone folder and just go over the plastic. Now, the thing you want to do is don't just lift it off. Lift it off slowly and make sure that all of the transfer did transfer on, that did rub on, because you can, not all of it will always go the first time around. So you just want to lift it gently and make sure that it is attaching. If it isn't, just rub it a little bit more. That's why it's nice to have the bone folder at your fingertips. Okay, now because this has browns and tans in it, I did use the thin line dazzles. Now this is out of the primary pack because it has brown in it, and I thought the brown would just do a really nice job on the edge. I used thin line because they are narrow, and again, I didn't want to overwhelm or draw any attention away from this star little pupil in the middle there. Remember I said white white ribbon is what I used? Well, I'm not sure you can see it on camera, but there truly is a white bow right here. See, I'm wiggling it, and that's done with one of the narrow ribbons and knotted in place. Okay, now let's go to the inside. And the inside, I use the other side of this paper. So I've cut it here, and then I use the other piece here. But first, I did more inking with my blender brush and my velvet fawn. So around all 4 edges, but also in the middle. So I wanted to do the same process. I chose my laser cut and used the sticky specs to attach it. Cherish and Forever are out of the rub-ons. They are in 2 different areas, by the way. And that just made, I didn't put any ribbon on the inside. I didn't put any dazzles, but you certainly could. But I was very pleased with that. And I was pleased with using the ink pad to give me an area that would really show up. Okay, now we're going to go to our next creation. And this is the one I showed you in the beginning. And this is a card, but it has the tag and a bag on top of it. So you can see, let me get this here. So this is the tag in the bag. If you haven't seen this, boy, you should have, because we just find this so, so useful. So what I did, and let me show you. Okay. So I took the sheet. So this is my 5 by 6.5 inch card. We're going to start with that. Remember the sheet that was all the lace? Well, that's what I glued to the front. It's obviously been cut to go just inside that 5 by 6.5 inch. Then I found, as I was looking at my laser cuts, that the suede, asparagus suede, just did such a nice job of going with the colors. It is a subtle color, and yet it's going to give me a nice solid color to play off of the patterns. So I cut a strip to go across the side and glued that down in place. Okay, now my next step is to go and to make my tag in a bag. So you saw the tag, but the bag is right here, and you can see the stripes on the front. Well, that was with the paper that obviously has the stripes. So let me just pull that out, and give me a second. Yes, I should have had this ready for you, shouldn't I? Okay, here we go. There it is. So again, you get 3 of each sheet, so that worked nicely. And this is the lace, so you can see that that's what I used on the back of it. Then I'm going to use the paper that has the stripes, and it's this one. But I did turn it this way. I was really pleased. In fact, I used 2 cutting dies as card bases in this webisode, and these 6 by 8 papers fit perfectly in my cutting dies, so that was nice to know. So I'm going to take the largest die, which is this one that's going to create my bag, so to speak, and you can see how that fits? Just perfectly. Very, very nice. I kind of wanted my stripes to go up and down, but I couldn't make that happen because of the way the paper's done, but going side to side was just perfect. So I die cut that out, and when you put this together, super, super simple. You will take this, and the directions are on that package, but you'll put extra sticky tape on the flap as you turn it up, and fold this over, put extra sticky tape, and let that fold over, and you will get that neat little pinked edge at the top, which I thought was really super. But be sure to leave that open because we're going to put our tag in there. So that's the way to do that. And that one sheet took care of that nicely. Then I took another sheet that had the flowers at the top, and I used that for my tag. I did cut a second one that's going to go on the inside of my tag, or excuse me, in the inside of my card, so that was good. And after I cut this, I did want to use the ribbon. You don't have to. You could certainly put a bow over it or something else, which is what I did on the inside of the card. But I didn't want to do too much with this. I thought the happy birthday was really nice and would do a good job. So I'm going to tuck that in. Now let's go back to the front of our card. Remember that stripe? Well, I chose that because I wanted to use this particular laser cut, but I had the asparagus suede from here, and I had happened to have used my oval cutting dies, and I had a piece of the asparagus that I had already cut. So you're going to use the measurement. It's in the directions with this. Here we go with our oval, and I did use the scallop one and die cut out the asparagus, okay? Then I placed it into my die cutting machine with the tag because I wanted to get, at the top, I wanted to get that perforated, that zigzag edge, that pinking shear edge. So I went ahead and cut this piece, put it on my machine and ran it through to get that piece, and then die cut the center. So I had that. And when I placed it through the machine, then I got my score lines, so I could just trim it within those score lines, okay? So that just made it super easy. And I do love the look of it, and I haven't done that before. And it was nice to be able to use my asparagus in, a couple of different things. I'll be using it in the next card too. The white ribbon, you're just going to cut a long length, fold it in half, put the half loop in the middle, bring the ends, and then tug it, and that will finish that. Okay, so after I've got all of this done, then I glued it to the top of my card. Okay, and I didn't bring the asparagus to the back of my card, I just did it to the front. So that worked nicely for me. I did attach it with the glue on the sticky specs, so you can choose whatever you want. On the inside of my card, this is asparagus, so it's got a bigger presentation there. There is another tag, and this is a knotted white ribbon. And I just like the idea. I know it looks, you could make this for bridal, you could make this for sympathy, you could make it for thinking of you. I did it for kind of a birthday, and I used the dazzles. These are the tiny words and phrases, and I did use the black ones. So I have my little hello, I've got happy birthday, and I've got make a wish. All kind of understated because I did want the artwork to show and that to be the prize of this card. But it was fun thinking of something else where my first card was pretty much wedding and good wishes for that. Again, this could be a sympathy card, thinking of you, birthday. It's just nice that even though this is called One Perfect Day, that it can be used for different reasons, different seasons. Okay, let's go to this next card. And this is a card that has a flap on the front. You can see that's where I use the asparagus again. And then this with the rub-ons, and then this on the inside with more of the rub-ons. So I really had fun with those. Now, this card is 5 by 6.5 inches, but I did a couple of things. So in the first part of it, I made another piece. So I took a card and I cut it down to be 5.5 by 5. And what happens is that when you go over the score line on the card, you can get that extra ½ inch and you already have your score line. Or you can cut a piece of white cardstock, 5.5 by 5, and measuring from the left, go in ½ inch and score it, whichever one you like. I used a card for it, but you can do whatever you like. So this is going to get the extra sticky tape attached to it, just right on there. And then it's going to be placed in the back of my card, just like this one was. Now, the only trick of this is that you don't want to have the score line really right next to the card. So you want to go out just a tad, just so that it has enough room to wrap around your card front, okay? So that will work nicely. So what I did on my card flap is I wanted to play with that asparagus again. I've got the sheet. I might as well use it on more than one card. In fact, you can do several things out of that one sheet, but this is just my second one. And I did cut it to fit in the flap. And then I took my sticky specs, as I have demonstrated, and attached this big piece. And I just thought that was a wonderful statement. Now, I did use the white border lace dazzles. This is what this sheet looks like. And I know that right now that just looks like a sheet of white, but there's really gorgeous stuff there. And you can see that I just let the straight edge of the dazzle be right against the edge of my asparagus and went right around all 4 sides. Now, the happiness always is part of the rub-ons. And let me find it, because I wanted to show you, where are you? There it is. Okay, so happiness always is right there. And it looks like it has a piece of tape on it, as though it had been attached to something with that tape. Well, I didn't want to use that, so I just trimmed it off. So just know that even though these are rub-ons, you can decide what you want to do. So as I said, now that you're nice and close, the happiness always, I removed that strip. So then I simply did the same thing, used my bone folder to press that on, and nicely it went onto the suede, which has a texture to it, but it just worked perfectly. So now I'm going to open this up, and this is that sheet. Remember I said they had lace and satin? And so I just let that fill the space, left a white border. And I do have 2 rub-ons. I was a little not thrilled that this didn't show up a little bit more, because they generally tell you that you'll be better off using a light background. But in this case, it's okay. It kind of draws you in to see what's happening. And this rub-on is the one that has, or one of the ones that has the balloons. So, pardon me while I find it. Okay, there it is. Okay, well, promise you it's here. And yeah, there we go. It's this one. It was hiding on me. So let me just show you. So it is pretty light colors, but I like the way that it has the flowers, the balloon, and it has music going each side. So I thought that was lovely. So I simply placed it, and it goes all the way here. So it really spans that whole piece of cardstock. And so the adventure begins. That is one of the rub-ons. And the thing on the rub-ons is that it's almost a film that has all of this together. And as you start peeling back the top of the plastic, you'll see that it just kind of goes together. But again, don't lift any part of that until you are sure that everything has attached, okay? So that goes there. Now this one, I covered the whole inside with that very light floral and leaves piece. This is one of the rub-ons, and it has that really pretty diamond on it, which I especially liked. And here it is. There you go. So you can see it there on white, and you can see it on this light color. I like the fact that it has that kind of same tone as on the papers. So that is one. The butterfly, there are butterflies that are tan as well as butterflies that are this lighter color, and I put one there. Love Always, well, you can see it right here, and that's gone right there. Now, if this is sticky in any way, you can just lightly put and rub cornstarch on it, and that will remove any stickiness. So if you find that the card doesn't open easily, that's a way to fix that. So make sure that this piece is covered by the flap, and you can see that it is, and that just goes beautifully right there. Okay, I have one more card for you, and this too is using one of the cutting dies. This is our Tuxedo, and let me get a white piece behind here because I want you to see the brown that I added. I just thought it was time for a little bit of sparkle in here, and the brown glitter just seemed to me to work beautifully. Now this is the Tuxedo card. You can see this is Thinking of You. So once again, it is not wedding. Oh, one thing I wanted to tell you, when I was using the rub-ons, I thought One Perfect Day, that's the name of the group of the collection of papers, I thought it'd be really neat to use that as a rub-on, and try as I might, it is not a rub-on. So it's just the title in the packaging, so it won't work. So, but I thought it was a good idea. Okay, I'll have to talk to the owner of 49 Market about that. Okay, the Tuxedo card comes from this cutting die, obviously titled the Tuxedo card. There are 3 pieces, and once again, wonderfully, they fit beautifully on the papers. And I used this to make the back of the card, and that is this piece. And look at that. That puppy fits perfectly. How nice is that? Now, you don't really see this, but it's there. And that's on the back. You can see that is the back of my card. Then I used this on this card because, on this cardstock, because I wanted that border to be showing right there. So used it, just carefully positioned it. But then I also realized that those flaps, as they turn down, they're going to be solid. So I used the top part of this sheet, turned it over, and I trimmed this to fit so that I could glue it to the top part that is folded down. The tuxedo is folded down, as you can see. So there it is as it is cut, and you fold it down. So I did use that whole sheet on this project, and that worked nicely for me. So, okay, so we're going to do that. And then there is a crossbar in there, so I simply die cut that out too. And the crossbar is going to hold this piece. And this piece and this piece, those two pieces, are held together with our friend extra sticky tape, which is somewhere on my table that I'm not sure, but you know what it looks like. It has the red liner. Okay, so for this, I took the sheet that has, you know, again, you get 3 of each, so it has the lace and then it has the satin. And then I took my velvet fawn, my blending brush, I made that darker so that when I attached my laser cut, it would show. Then I matted it on the brown diamond. Now to give you a bigger look at the brown diamond, here it is. I love this color. Of course, we love glitter, especially now that they have glitter that will not shed. So that makes me happy. And here we go. So there you go, and you can just see what a nice sparkle that adds. So I matted it on here and attached this. So I made sure this is all one finished piece before I attached it to the crossbar. Now you could attach it to the crossbar before you put this front piece on. I did it afterwards, but you could certainly do it before, so that would work. This little butterfly is a rub-on, and Thinking of You comes from our We're Together dazzles. This is called More Colors because it has gold, silver, white, and brown. And I really love the brown coordinating, so I thought that worked nicely. Now this will slip into our 10 envelopes. So it's going to, you can certainly mail that, and it's just going to work perfectly. So that is my 4th card. So I was really pleased that I could get so many different looks out of something called One Perfect Day that really is geared toward wedding. But I was happy that I could send a Thinking of You, I could send birthday wishes, I could use my cutting dies without having to make any modifications because the 6x8 papers worked beautifully. And I could add layers of things. My suede worked nicely. And as I said, my velvet fawn and my blending tool were just really the things that made everything work. So this is, I hope I've given you some ideas and some tips in using these products. I do think 49 Market has a wonderful look, and they're coming out with many different things. I met with her at the trade show that was recent, and Jeannie and I talked and showed me some new things she's doing and some new artists that she's working with, so that's really fun. So we have 49 in Market, One Perfect Day, not only for weddings, with their cardstock paper pads, their rub-ons, and their laser cuts. And there is a money saver. Of course, it's on the right-hand side of the screen. You can buy them all together or buy them individually. Pretty much it's a one-shot deal. We get them in, sell them, and then kind of moving on to the next one. So if this is something you can use, you might want to get it now, okay? And I want to, if you are watching this on YouTube, I want to make sure to thank you. I want to ask you to go to paperwishes.com, check out that money saver. By the way, the instructions are there for you. That just is a nice security to make sure that you're getting the right directions and the right sizes of things. So that is not frustrating in any way, shape, or form. I hope you have enjoyed Paulette's Paper Play, because I've certainly enjoyed doing these things for you and with you. And we'll be seeing you again. So thank you, and thank you for being part of our Paper Wishes family. We'll see you actually tomorrow. Bye-bye.